8.
Nothing's happened.
It
Go,
says
Cam.
live on mine.
Go,
It says
Cam.
live on mine.
Wait, are we live now?
It says
Yeah,
live on mine. 10 seconds.
It doesn't say live for me. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Clicked over. It says we're live now. Well, that is premium, high quality,
Maybe we
bloody
were, or
radio
maybe
that
we
you
were.
want to listen to.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Hello, welcome to the 3 Idiots Talk Aquariums podcast. Apparently, we've been live for 30 seconds, but it's only just come up on my computer. So, yeah.
Cool.
Sorry about that. What are you going to do?
And this is 3 idiots plus 1 extra idiot.
Yeah. Well, so if you're
Four
watching
stooges.
on the tube, you'll be able to tell already. Today's episode
Oh,
is not.
He's gone.
Oh,
He's gone. He's pushed
he's
it
gone
over.
lost
already.
him.
You
But-
did that. I did that all the time when I'm on my phone.
In general, this is supposed to have a special guest. That was Andrew, who was just here a second ago, and he's coming back. There he is.
Coming back.
Don't click out of it.
I didn't
It
click
does
out
that.
of anything.
Yeah.
What is it?
Just did it itself.
I'm here at the moment. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, we've got Andrew with us, who's a special guest, not one of the 3 idiots. One of our lovely friends who
I could have
Is
get
into
voted in
fish?
it very easily.
exactly.
Yeah, I've known
So-
Andrew for long enough to know that he's an idiot too, so that's all right.
How long have you guys known each other?
3 days.
How long would it be? 15 or 15 years, probably?
Oh, it's going on 20, mate. It
Yeah, there
goes
you go.
quickly. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Back
So,
before I was born, eh?
Young fella.
African cyclid idiots together, so yeah.
That's right. Back in the days pre-Facebook and all of this, when we literally had to write letters together.
Mm-hmm.
Do you send each other a carrier pigeon? Send a runner?
Almost.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was called Fastway Couriers.
Yep, I know
way
the
better
ones.
way better than Aramex.
Not hard.
Yeah.
We're gonna get sponsored by Aramex, I think.
Oh,
'cause
no,
I love
yeah.
Aramex.
Oh, yo, I look forward to it. But yeah, so we'll start off with some of our normal crap. So, anybody, I'll throw this out to the floor. Who's had any funny or fun fish related stuff going on recently in the past week or so? Someone hit me.
I did something.
What did
I
you
did something
do?
cool. What did I do?
I don't
Oh,
know,
I
not
went to
you.
Bunnings and I replaced all my leaking siphon hoses that had like 6 pieces of tape and flooded my lounge every time I did a water change.
Oh, nice. Kim was happy with
I
that.
can't believe you were proactive and did something like that.
Well, I was either there
Before
or
it happened,
just,
yeah.
yeah. Well, it was happening every week, but and Kim just gave up on it, so she just said, "Oh, whatever." She's a lost cause. So
Oh, nice. Well, the number one thing you need for a water change is something that doesn't leak, I suppose. So,
right,
You know,
the
better
idea is
late
to
than
take the
never.
water out of the tank, so I was achieving the aim.
just not exactly what you're trying to aim for, if you will.
Yeah,
I think
watering
the
the
number
garden.
one thing you need for a water change is water.
Well,
Or
and
lack of water. What about you, Cam? What have you had going on?
I'm actually prepared for this segment this week. I had a
Nice
tank
tangibly.
seam giveaway and I lost a metric buttload of fish in the process.
all your breeders, eh? Or a lot of
All my
breeders.
breeders. Yeah. So,
What sort of stuff?
I lost all my zebra danios, all my rosy barbs, most of my cherry barbs, all of my CPDs. And there was another group that is eluding me right now. So all my
You have
small
fry of
scattering.
all those, though, right?
Did you? Yeah, you've got stuff to save, or
I got fry of the zebra danios, but they're already in the shop. Everything is at least easy enough to get hold of. It was the fact that it happened and everything went pear shape on me.
And they're nice, established, good size, young fish,
Yeah.
happy breeding.
Yeah.
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 Exactly what you want.
Everything was mature. Everything was a full color. Go, cool. I can pick. There's my male. There's my female. I'm going to try with. Like everything was ready to rock and roll, and the tank was stable, and everything was good. And then it just split a seam, and water everywhere. Not where it's meant to be.
So it was a shitty old tank or a shitty new tank, or was it what was the story?
Oh, it's just a shitty tank. I've had it for a while. I got it
Design
off
make
a
it for you.
friend. He got it for. What's that? Sorry. Ryan
Did
Classic.
Ryan make it for you?
Might have.
I willed the silicon there
Yep.
using the force of the fish.
Yeah. So yeah, it was frustrating. It is what it is. But yeah, it's part of keeping aquariums, I guess. It's an unfortunate thing. It's the first time I've had a seam give away on me, and it's hopefully the last time, but it probably won't be. So yeah.
Unfortunately,
of other issues.
the more tanks you have, the higher the
More
risk
chance.
too, right? You know,
Yeah.
like it's pretty rare, but it does happen.
Yeah.
Unless
So
it's
I've
rare,
now
unless I make tanks, and then it's common.
had a cracked base, a cracked front, and the rear seam give way as far as exploding tanks go. So we'll see how we go. What's next? Oh, and I've had a full front panel give way on me, totally explode as well. So that's my hit list so far.
This is over a large period of time, though. You're talking.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
No, this is last week.
Like years.
Yeah, it's over my whole time of keeping fish. So
No,
Yeah. Oh
and
well.
presumably, a lot of those tanks were old or dodgy, or you might have done something wrong to contribute to those.
No, 3 of the 4 was user error on my behalf.
Yeah.
Absolutely, like not putting polystyrene down and not making sure the stand was square and taking out the braces on like a 1,400 litre tank and then having a metal halide sitting on top of the other one. It gets too hot and then cracks the brace and blows it up. All my fault.
Yeah.
Oh,
We don't
no
want
one
to
to
scare
blame
people.
but yourself.
We don't want to scare people unnecessarily.
Yeah, do as I say, not as I do. I think are the key words we're thinking about here.
Yeah. No, it sounds good.
These are great lessons you've learned now.
Exactly.
Yeah. But it's
Yeah.
only a
Gotta find
lesson
out
if you don't do it again, and we don't know if that's going to happen again.
Yeah, makes sense. Well,
Yeah, well, I'm waiting. I've gone 30 years and never had a tank go, so knock on wood.
Nice. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
But in the last week, I've actually sort of like weatherproofed my fish room a bit. I put up some clear plastic across glass and put up some curtains. It's amazing what just a few little things can do in terms of saving heat.
Insulation, eh?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm walking in there at the moment and it's like a lovely 22 degrees and half my plants are down there now.
oh, nice. You got yourself a
So
little
it's really-
tropical
it's-
rainforest
well,
kind of situation.
Is Andrew's audio really good?
Well, I just looked. Is it bad?
Yeah, it's real crackly.
Sorry,
I don't
guys.
know if it's your
Yeah.
headset or it's better now. Hang on.
Probably. Well, it's a crappy old pair of headphones and a phone, so we'll do our best.
Yeah. It's been a little bit better. I think you go close. It might be going through your phone speaker rather than your headphone speakers. Is it going through your phone microphone?
Probably.
Yeah.
I'm not going to change anything now.
Yeah.
Oh, doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
no,
It's
just
close.
saying that it's like. I'm just saying it's a great little way for anybody, just to do a little bit of installation. It really will, power's expensive, so I've noticed it. So it's,
Tell me about it.
Yeah,
it's a great
exactly.
little project. Oh yeah, well I'm
And-
sure you guys are, I mean,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
Sorry,
no,
what's
I
that?
mean, oh,
Like a well-oiled machine today.
Yeah.
doesn't
We're all
matter.
talking.
But
I
no,
think Andrew's saying that installation's good. Insulation is good. We don't want to be summer fish keepers and get heaps of tanks and chuck them in our garage uninsulated and then have like $1,000 power bills and sell them all every year because people do that and it's dumb.
Absolutely.
So don't do it.
Yep. I actually went to slightly larger tanks and got rid of the number by just getting rid of a few of the 2-foots, So just being a little bit smarter.
consolidated all in the bigger spots and that.
Yeah, just I think the number of heaters and stuff you've got running as much as once the water gets up there and it starts to get it maintains itself a little bit, so it's easier to maintain. Bigger tanks are always easier to maintain.
And it
Yeah,
has the
exactly.
added bonus of the better, more insulation you got, the more it becomes like a sauna and it's a weight loss tool.
That's right.
You're saying all fish keepers need a
2
day?
hours a day in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And you just get to nude up and go and play with the fish like a sauna,
Is that what you do in your fish room? when no one's looking.
regularly, but I have to walk out there. That's the fun part, you know.
Oh yeah, trying to get there.
Trying to get there without being seen. You know, just doing the nude run.
Just got to own it, man. Who cares? But yeah, no, it sounds good.
Is that why you haven't put up that new fence? Because you like the low lying fence for your neighbours?
There's a new fence.
Yeah, don't worry about it, Cam. Mr. Handyman put up a new fence. It's all under control.
Hey.
I wish.
Helen says that's not a picture she needs in her head, and to be honest, I can't blame her.
Yeah, well, that's why. Yeah,
Most women
I had a
would
vision
have
of-
to pay for that sort of thing. So you know, she's lucky. She'd pay for it. She don't get it. You know.
Is that on your
Oh,
only Ryan's
listen,
fence?
Yeah. Put up a link
Yeah,
to
man.
my OnlyFans later. All right.
Oh well, this past week, the biggest or most notable fish related thing I've done is my I can probably show it for the people on YouTube, but
A blank wall.
this little tank here is it's been there for actually it's been there pretty much since we started the podcast. I just don't really talk about it that much, but that's my girlfriend's little tank. It's just got bunch of platies in it, because in the shop one time I had this platy that had no eye, was missing this eye, and she was like, oh my god, that's so cute. And then we got it and then got them some buds, and they've been doing their thing. But the other day spent, I don't know, maybe an hour or something just redoing it all, because it had gotten a bit gross in there. Like the fish were fine, but you know, a lot of the plants had died, and you know, just kind of
slimy
needed
green manky stuff.
not so much. It was just like a bunch of dead plants and not much else really going on in there. So we put some driftwood and this dragon sculpture thing, and yeah, cleaned out the filter and everything, called it a day. But yeah, that's probably the most exciting thing. Made a big difference. Everybody's happy, including the fish, which is a good start.
What sort of filter are you using?
It is just the real little Eheim pickup 45. That one actually was just like an old secondhand one I had lying around. I thought we may as well use it. But it's also got a UV filter on it, because where it is, it gets like well, not so much now, but in summer it gets tons of light, and the water was green as hell. So we're like, oh yeah,
Is that an internal green killing machine, or is it an external one?
Yeah, no, internal one. Just one of those little ones. It's like the Blue Planet ones or whatever it is.
Yeah, I know ones.
Does the job perfectly, but yeah, it was just there was so much sun that I didn't really want to move it or anything. So that killed it all, and now it's back to normal. So what more could you want? So yeah,
And you got a job if we're allowed to talk about that, didn't you?
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that in another episode.
Right. Because people do actually wonder what you're doing and what you've been up to, and I haven't sort of been able to tell them.
Wonder.
Thanks for the singing, Cam. But no, I hear the next thing I was going to say is I do hear that Ryan has some listener mail for us to.
So one of you guys needs to bring up the email then.
I didn't see any emails.
And go into the sent items and read the email. Unfortunately, we did not get a reply, so it's not as funny as I was hoping it was going to be. But
oh my god, when was this? Oh, 29. Yeah, but I haven't. Oh, that's right. I remember the other day, like maybe a week ago, Ryan asked for the login for the email, and I was like, "This is weird. What the hell does he want it for?" And just kind of ignored it. But I see on the 29th, there's a sent email from the email address that all you lovely people should send some mail to, which is podcast3idiots@gmail.com. So if you have anything to tell us, but I'm gonna read this email, which
who's it to?
Ryan, well, I'm getting to that. Which Ryan has sent to a person or to a company, and it goes like this: what is it? Oh, it says, "Hi, Anne. With our fame and notoriety, I'm sure you have heard of the Three Idiots Talk Aquariums podcast. In the unlikely case you haven't, the name speaks for itself." And then it goes on and it says, "We did an episode where one of the cast called out Auckland class in a rap battle. You can watch the recording here." And he's put the link to the reel that Cam put up. And then he says, "It just occurred to us that this challenge was never extended to Auckland glass. I know after watching the video, you'll be extremely intimidated," whatever that means.
Intimidated.
Well, you didn't spell that right, so
Well, that's
I'm
three
sure
idiots. That's all right. Yeah.
okay. But rest assured, we are just normal mortal humans. I envisage this rap battle something along the lines of Eminem and 8 Mile, and has the potential to be written down in the history of New Zealand rap alongside How Many Dudes You Know Roll Like This. Anyway, Anne, consider Auckland Glass challenge to a rap battle. Please select your champion and accept our challenge. Regards, Cam, and Ryan. So there's not been a reply to this email. I'd be
no
surprised if there
reply.
was. So I guess we win by default is the way it works.
So if anyone has any contacts in Auckland Glass, then get them to probably get that out of their spam folder and reply to us.
Mate, they would have sent that straight to the police because that's almost like a death threat. And they're going to find your IP address and they're going to come knocking yet again for you. You're going to get arrested for
another
threatening behaviour as well as your grow room in your backyard.
I was so hoping they would reply. That would be so funny, but they did not.
So I guess the conclusion we can draw is that Ryan has too much time on his hands and needs to go install some more insect screens or something.
Try to generate some content for us, all right?
I'll appreciate it. Hey, doesn't matter what. Even if they didn't reply, we still got a good laugh out of it. So what more could you want? So yeah.
And do you like my analogies that I put in there? You know, like I thought it was pretty good.
A man of culture, I see. Yeah.
It's extremely well written.
Yeah, man. So I suppose we will have to wait and see. Yeah. Hey, good times.
I had to ring them to get their email address, which they didn't want to give me. I would have been using the contact form.
You should have just put it in there.
Maybe I will if they don't reply. We'll just resend it.
Yeah. Copy and paste that bad boy. Yeah. Oh, well, that's good. And if anyone else has anything even somewhat serious they want to send us, podcast3idiots@gmail.com is the avenue to send it. You can send in stories or questions or anything you like, and we'll make the most of it.
Even if it's not serious, it's fine.
Exactly. I'm just going to ask one of you guys to take over quickly because I have to go blow my nose real bad. So I'll be back in 2 seconds. Sorry about that.
We can't take over the random question because it's your job.
Yeah, that's a random question.
We'll do something for 2 minutes until I get back. Hold on.
Random question. Random. I can chant random question for 2 minutes. Maybe we could go full style.
Well, maybe you can sort of start introducing yourself in the meantime, Andrew, and sort of say what your association with fishies is and what you've been doing and stuff, you know. Like.
Well, like probably else, I just started off many years ago with one little tank. And probably even as a kid, I was, always one to keep frogs or go collect fish from the local pond and stuff. But I would say probably 25, 30 years ago when I had a young daughter and I started to get one tank and start to get back into it again. And slowly over that period of time, that's, like all of us, it's gone up to maybe 15 tanks, back down to one. I think I'm currently at about 9 tanks, but I've always been a bit of a cichlid guy. Probably a little bit of breeding of plecos, but definitely cichlids are a little bit cheaper, so a bit more fun. But
and they're more fun in
as
general.
you probably know. Well, yeah, you know, I get to see them more, and I'm sure Ryan will agree with that. But I'd love plex. I would love a room full of pleco tanks. I really would. I think they're amazing fish. But
it'd be like a
yeah,
magician's room. You just go in and it's like they vanish. You know,
oh,
it's like, whoa.
that's right. They just look.
But you'd like a room full of plecos, but not a room full of cichlids. I noted that you didn't once say you wanted a room full of cichlids.
Well, you know, I've
Because he's already got a room full of cichlids.
Yeah,
No,
I'm talking about another room. Yeah,
he's also got a lot of dumb
whole
fish,
wing.
so, you know.
Yeah, a little. Anything that's not from Africa is probably dumb in Ryan's book. But yeah, I'm quite keen on the pistos. You know, I'll give anything a bit of a chance. I quite like the little southeastern Asian, you know, nano fish. Try and breed some of those. But
No, sounds cool.
yeah, yeah. You know,
Oh.
a pretty regular sort of fish keeper that gets one tank and carries on, I guess.
Yeah,
And
can't go wrong. Eh?
and you're obviously a guest on this one because of photography. So you've obviously
That's
done a little
right.
bit of photography in your life. I mean, give people a little bit of background on
I've,
that.
I've taken the odd shot there, Ryan. Yeah, I've been a commercial photographer for about 30 years, so it's something that I obviously do. And anybody that knows me knows that I'm pretty keen to share the odd shot that I take. I love taking photos of the fish. You know, I guess I try and create little homes for them and then go take photos of them. You know, with my little mates. So.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Where
Yeah.
can, if anyone wants to see these pictures that you're mentioning, whereabouts would they be able to find them if they want to take a look?
Oh well, I think that I'm a member of a few Facebook pages like the Tropical, you know, fish page in New Zealand, and I think we do a dwarf cichlid one and an African cichlid page. That's generally where I put, you know, where I show them, mate, or I put them up, you know, sharing with other fish keepers. You know, there used
Yeah.
to be back in the day it was the forums and so forth, the website pages, but yeah, I think the Facebook pages are the best avenue
go
to
to?
share. Well, yeah, that's where you go. Hey, talk to people that you know or other people, and you know, and they're as interested in seeing them as sometimes I am of taking them. I hope.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
Nice. Yeah, and you share some cool photos too.
Yeah.
Like some
Yeah,
awesome
yeah,
photos,
I
awesome
think
tanks,
you
awesome
know,
fish, you know.
yeah.
What's your favorite fish to
I
photograph?
think, oh, the one in front of my camera at the moment, I'd say they're always going to be. Look, just the fact that they are also different too, you know. And I'm using a macro lens often, where I'm just trying to get as much detail as I can, you know. I'm just blown away all the time of how beautiful they are. Even the so-called, you know, bog standard plain fish are still, you know, when you're getting close, they're so glorious, you know.
And what I like
Yeah,
about your
exactly.
photos too is you actually seem like I can't capture the colors correctly when I take the photos. Like, you know, you take a photo and you're like, oh, it's actually more orange, or it's more red, or it's more blue, or
Sure.
it's got this
Yeah.
yellow tinge in the top fin or whatever that I just can't seem to capture due to lighting or lack of skill or
Because
whatever
you're
else.
shit.
You know, yeah, because I'm shit. You know.
Well, I
But
think the key thing is the ability to process the photo afterwards. I think that, I mean, obviously, I've got software I can do that, but even on your phone, I think, you know, there's probably a little bit more control than you can do when you're shooting, and then you can edit them, you know. So if you've got some sort of editing tool, I'm just trying to get color correct, you know. And I'm not sure that I hate seeing photos when they've just
oh,
wanged up the contrast and the saturation, and they go, "Look at my
well,
red fish." You go, "Well, so are your plants red, mate. So is your sand. So is
yeah,
everything, you know."
the
So
substrate is bright red, and the fish
yeah,
is so
yeah.
saturated you can't even see it's any detail anymore. It's just this
Well,
really big red thing, and everyone's posting, going, "Wow, where can I buy it?" And you're like,
yeah.
"You can't. Doesn't
And
exist."
some fish are harder to shoot too. You know, harder to take photos of because of that. I mean, if you try and take photos of an African peacock, and I love those as rhinos, they're really hard because they're so metallic and they're so reflective to get them looking realistic.
And they don't sit still either.
But,
Like,
oh no, and that's the other thing.
and a pistol, they will actually
and I guess,
pause in front of you sometimes to look at some food or whatever, and you can get a shot then. But they're always Africans always just moving,
Yep.
Stupid
The best
fish.
thing is when they're trying to flare, maybe, they're coming up to the tank because they think it's feeding time, or, that's probably the time to grab them. And I think that's probably one of the questions people are going to say, well, what's the best way to shoot a fish? You've got to sit down and watch the
You put it
tank
in
for
a barrel
while,
if you want to shoot it, eh? Sorry.
Ryan with the jokes. But yeah, no, that makes sense.
I've spoken to a few aquascapers who obviously have to take photos of the aquariums and stuff like that, and they have a few tricks and stuff regarding how they kind of corral their fish into position. Do you do anything like that, or you just sort of sit there and wait for the moment to happen?
Well, I mean, they corral themselves, I think, if you sit back and watch. I mean, my best tool is a little footstool that, it's about, half a meter high. And I find if I sit there and I'm at the height of the tank and just wait, they tend to, they after a couple of minutes, they stop thinking that you're going to feed them, and they almost revert back to their default, just cruising around. I think that's when I try and take photos of them.
Yeah.
So you say you're using a macro lens. Does that mean you're very close up to the glass when you're taking your photos?
Well, yeah, a macro lens is just going to magnify things. So, yeah, I'm getting right up to the glass. I mean, you talk about tricks, Cam. Obviously, taking photos at night time when the room's dark and just the tank lights are on, and so you're not getting a lot of reflections. That way you don't have to be so close to the glass, but I think a lot of people end up taking reflections of themselves when they're trying to shoot stuff,
Story of my life.
All I see is my shiny forehead when I take bloody photos half the time.
When you first took photos, did you think the sun was when you were first taking photos, Ryan, did you think it was the sun coming through the light or something? I think you actually realised it was your dome?
I was just blinded by the light,
Blinded by the light.
There you go. He's got it.
It was the halo, wasn't it, Ryan? The halo.
Yeah. That one's going straight to the pool room, that photo,
No, it makes sense.
So your reflections are a big one, eh? Like, that's a big issue in my fish room. Often take a photo and then I end up with a reflection of the lights and the tanks behind me, So, that is a good tip, taking them at night and only having one tank with the light on, one light source.
That's right. Turn all other ambient light out, and also too, that sort of puts you in the dark, so the fish tend to maybe don't focus in on you as much. But
either they think you're a stalker, just sitting in the dark watching them, or they relax.
It's amazing. They know when you're watching them, though, don't they? Have you ever you pick out a fish that you want to catch? It knows that you're looking at it, and it figures it out. And it's a bit when I'm taking photos. You point the camera, it will dart off, and you point
all the females will come to the front, and the male will go and hide.
Yes, that's right. So point the camera at a fish you don't want to take photos, and just stalk the other one out of the corner of your eye, waiting for it to come and say, what's going on there?
Yeah, agreed.
But I think a lot of people are probably taking photos with their phone anyway. So
I mean, do you have any? I was going to say, do you have any realistic tips for people that just have a basic phone? Because phones have got reasonable cameras in them these days. They're not potatoes anymore.
For sure. Yep. Oh, absolutely. I would say once again, have a little seat that is low, or so when you sit down, you're at that sort of height of your tank. A lot of people hold the phone out in front of them, about waist height, and try and follow the fish. Put the phone up in front of your eyes as if it is like a pair of binoculars, and you'll find it easier to track with the fish. You know, if you have most cameras now, you can have a setting in terms of exposure that you can do before you take the photo, and I would say take that exposure right back so it's darker. So you're always taking the photo a little bit darker, and then you can
Is it a
edit
slower exposure or a
photo back.
faster exposure?
Well, I mean, most cameras will pick the exposure that they're going to pick. You know, you hopefully it'll be fast enough, but the darkness just means that you can, in the editing, make it brighter, and that's easier to make things brighter than try and get detail back into bright things. You know, if you've got a highlight and it's too
Oh,
bright.
did you see that when you
So,
used
I
the
mean,
flash,
if you
right?
can manually make the. No, I don't use the flash, mate. I mean,
But if you
that
do use the
usually
flash, it
just
gets oversaturated, and you can't. There's nothing you can do to try and bring that back. It's just a big white glow.
Well, no, that's why I just take the exposure darker. If you do use the flash, I mean, the problem with the flash, of course, you get the big flash reflection in the glass, right?
Mm.
In the aquarium.
And in
you
your
get a big
forehead.
flash. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So that
Have you?
Hey.
Sorry, Karen.
oh yeah,
I was
oh
going
no,
to ask a
you
question,
can
but
say.
have you experimented with making photo tanks and putting fish into photo
yeah.
tanks to get photos and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely.
It used to be a
I
thing.
did that a
It's a
few
thing I haven't
times.
seen for a while, but people used to do it at
No.
least.
But that's the time I did use flash, studio flash. I got a 2-foot tank and I blacked it out, and I could light it from 3 different areas. So I could, and then you get a whole different level of photos. I put a photo of a T-bar cichlid on Facebook not too long ago, and I must drag out. I took a photo of a male years ago in a studio tank, a photo tank, and it's just amazing, you know, because
Yeah,
the
the photo
flash
you put
does.
up had colours like well, you couldn't even recognise it as a T-bar because it actually was truly captured in that moment, you know. But
Yeah,
often they don't look that good. They don't get that big. They don't get that colourful, you know. So they are just a little browny fish that's kind of hiding in the back of a tank somewhere at a store, and they don't look like that, you know. They're not really happy and settled. So
no, this guy's happy. But you're quite right. I mean,
the recent photo of the T-bar and the green Severum that you recently put up online were two phenomenal photos.
Was that a green Severum?
It's
like a
dirty,
red shoulder.
Red shoulder. Yeah. Look, I don't know. I bought it to red shoulder. I don't know how good the quality of red shoulders are that I've seen here. You know.
I have some opinions about those red shoulders that came in, shall we say?
Yeah.
No way. You'd never have an opinion on fish that came in New Zealand. Never.
Don't think they're legit. They're all
from
look
Germany,
a bit funky.
and they're all legit.
You what?
They're all wild caught. They're all from Germany, and they're all legit.
Yeah, well, I stand corrected then.
But we can agree. Okay, the photo of the Severum that you just recently took was
It was a
very
cool
phenomenal.
fish, regardless.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And the camera I'm using is a 50 megabyte pixel camera. So if you are taking photos with a better camera, obviously you'd be taking them with raw files. If you know what I mean by a raw file, you're shooting an uncompressed file, which in my case is a 50 meg file, which means I had so much information in that file. And that color is just, I mean, it's there anyway, but it's so easy to draw out. I'm not trying to actually
artificially do anything,
make it any more saturated, but yeah, I can. It's when I take photos of Tetris and things, and you can see just the tinges of color that they have in fins that you wouldn't see when you're just looking at the fish in a tank. It's you can get up and blow them up a lot more and see a lot more detail. That's for sure.
Cool.
So guys, I have a question. If you are a lot of what we've talked about, I guess, is when you're trying to take a picture of a specific fish or group of fish. is there anything you'd do different if you're trying to take a picture like a tank rather than the specific fish, like show an aquascape or an entire group of fish or something?
On the phone, I actually go as wide as I can and put the camera right up to the glass, so you're actually looking in like a really wide angle at the glass. I think that's a cool look.
Yep.
I think when people stand back from and try and just show the box of the tank, unless you're doing all that other stuff of controlling the lights and squaring up the camera so it all looks square, they don't look very good. They tend to never look as good as people think they're going to look. They go,
And that's where all the
look as good as I
reflections, like
thought.
you say, are a problem, eh? Because you get it, and it's just you get everything else in the room, and it's pitch black. All the
But
lights,
most
I
of
have
those
problem with,
cameras
like behind me, the lights stuff with the photo too. They make if you get a photo of the light, like up into the
No.
lights,
It's
Yeah.
definitely your
shines
forehead.
that at you.
Definitely your forehead shining back into it.
uh,
I'm assuming that like taking photos of fish inside the box is a totally different mindset and approach to taking a photo of the box with the fish in it, if that makes sense.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
When you're taking a photo of your tank, you want to step back and try and a bit of that wide angle will give it depth. Whereas people they just try and make it two-dimensional, it just becomes like a two-dimensional picture. It doesn't quite have the depth. So I would tend to uh, try and get inside the tank if I was taking a photo of the tank, if that makes sense.
So you
Try and
say
get as
wide
wide
angle?
as I
Is that
can.
like a landscape type mode? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like landscape mode on your phone. Just go into the widest. I mean, I think too you can actually set the different formats. When some cameras you can go. Some of them are defaulted to like a 4x3, and I think you can go to a 16:9. Go 16:9, which is going to be a more longer, narrow a format. And of course, I always hold my phone side on because I'm a photographer. A lot of people go vertical, but it's a matter of time. You see people taking a picture of a long tank with a vertical camera held vertically. You go,
doesn't make sense, really.
Hands up. Hands up. We've all done that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
It was the wild west of using your cell phone camera about 5 years ago. Who knew which way you meant to put things?
Well, that's right.
And you've still got the same phone.
Yeah. When taking photos, does the actual aquarium lighting itself make a difference? Like, obviously, there's a gazillion different sorts of lights available to sit on top of our tanks. Do specific tubes, specific LEDs, light settings, more blues, more greens, more reds, or whatever, do they make any difference on the photo you take, or is all of that sort of done in your post-edit stuff?
The color of the light, not so much, but the quality for sure. I mean, I've gone and bought a few lights now, the COP lights, the COP LEDs, because they just give that natural sunlight feel that no other light can do, with the shadowing and so forth. I suppose some of those old metal halide lights used to do that. But, those sort of really sort of focusable sort of like LEDs. I mean, I love them because they almost look like it's sunlight coming down through trees. But I tend to have my lights set up for my tanks if they're slightly warm because it's a slightly like an Apisto cannony looking tank anyway. So I have my light set to warm tone on that as opposed to cool tone on like a Malawi tank.
Mm-hmm.
So and then I would probably set my camera to a color temperature that I thought suited as well. So when I shoot those sort of like more sort of tanny little bio type of things, I'm winding the temperature up on my camera. But that's not to cheat. That's just to give it an extra bit of punch and warmth.
And the I guess when I take photos, I have to tend to go on an angle to try and minimize reflections and all that sort of shit. Do you usually go straight on, or do you go on an angle, or what's the story? You go straight on, do you?
Well, I think unless you've got even the best quality aquarium glass is going to have some sort of distortion. The moment you go 2 or 3 degrees off that straight in, you're going to get the clearest view when you look straight through the glass, aren't you? So I would tend to always go like that anyway. I mean, once you start to look down into a corner of a tank and take a photo of a fish, I mean, it's distorted as all hell. So I would tend to then get lower on my stool and get down at the same height as a fish as it's going. If it's a loach or something going through the substrate, I would try and get it the same.
Why do you cheat and use a stool? You should be doing squats for your, your leg strength. Right. Yeah. No.
Thank you, Ryan. No, it's hard enough getting back up off the stool, bro. So no, I'm quite happy with my little stool and my cup of coffee. And just waiting. Look, taking the photos is just going down to the fish room, looking at my fish, and taking a camera with me. Really, isn't it? And I think that's what most of us do. We go, we'll just wander down and I'll take some photos. I just.
And if you ever go to the fish room to get a photo of a specific fish, you're stuffed. You're never going to get it.
Oh, that's right. If you need to give it one right now, it will be hiding. It will have disappeared. And for the first time for a week, you've realised it's not there. So.
No, it sounds good. One other thing I was wanting to ask about is if someone is trying to take a picture of, say you're a breeder and you're trying to sell, a group of juveniles and you've got a whole lot of them in the tank, is there any tips you have to take a picture of say 20 fish that might be different to if you're just trying to take a picture of one specific fish, like the whole group, or I guess putting them on Trade Me or something like that, if you're trying to market them?
If you're doing it with your phone, probably what I'd suggest is making that photo darker and then brightening it up afterwards. When you make anything darker, even on a phone, you'll get a bit more depth of field. You'll get a bit more of everything in focus. And so you probably also, too, with a group, stand back and try and, make a longer shot so they're more compacted. They look more like a group. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So you're almost using a zoom. So you're zooming in on the group now rather than getting wide because, I mean, they'll scatter everywhere. You'll never get that idea of a group. And two, they if I want to show numbers, I go back a little bit and make it look use my lenses to create space. But if you just want to show what the fry look like, I always say show a good photo of the parents.
Yeah.
Or just do what everyone else does and go on the internet and put a photo up of a fish
that's right.
completely different. Post this amazing photo that's been edited to shit back, and then say this is what you're going to get, and then you show up and you don't get it. But
so anyway, is that what you do, Ryan?
That's not what I do. I take terrible photos of my fish and put them up. At least I'm honest.
No, you just ring up Andrew and tell him to come over and take some pictures.
Or I go through all the files of fish that Andrew's taken and use those.
Well, I have had a couple of incidents recently where on other Facebook forums, my photos have been used to show other people's fish in their tanks, and I've gone.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
My fish.
How does ownership of photos work in general? Like, I take a photo, put it on the internet. How does that work?
Yeah. It's open slather. I mean, I put all those photos up, and whoever wants to grab one and use them, go for your life.
Is that the legal explanation, or is that just your mind?
Well, I mean, I could watermark it or copyright it, but who's going to enforce that? If you don't really, I mean, I'm only putting low res up. With all those photos that I put up, they're about 1 meg, and you say, wow, they look good. My file's 110 megs, So I've got the big original. I mean, if somebody really loved it and wanted to use it for something great, then they could probably find me. But most people, you know, they go on the internet, and if it's there, they'll grab it. They don't know any different. I mean, I don't obviously work like that when I'm working. You know, any photo I take, I have the copyright of. But trying to prove copyright on something like an internet photo of a fish, why bother? You know,
Yeah, there's no financial gain in that.
I'm
There's
more.
no purpose in it, right?
Well, you know, there is no really financial gain, and that's not why I'm doing it. You know, so
Mm, mm.
I did have something funny happen once. I had Julie Dick Feldy, and I had this photo that I put on Facebook, and like, let's be honest, it was a terrible photo. Like, it wasn't quite in focus. Like, it was a little bit like the colors wasn't right and stuff. But I was on the internet one day, and I saw someone on eBay was using it to sell their fish, and I was like, man, like in America, and I was like, man, of all the pictures you could have chosen on the entire internet, you chose this real shitty one. Like, it was very clear. Like, you could see I could tell it was my tank, like the way it is. You could see the hardscape and everything. I was like, man, of all the pictures, you choose this terrible, terrible photo to try and sell your fish with. It's like, come on, man. And like specifically with those Julies, there's some pretty good pictures on the internet, but they're
Yeah,
doing
and
up to this guy's standard.
the Dick Feldy, they're very hard to capture too. It's really hard to capture their true colours, how blue they
Oh
are.
yeah.
It's
Oh,
hard
yeah.
to capture that blue
No.
in them. You know.
Yeah, I go through periods of I have a favourite fish to take photos of. You know, I just want to head down to the fish room and get a better photo. And for a while, it was those Julies all the time because they truly when they're in breeding dress and they're all coloured up, the blues and the creams and everything. You just don't understand how colourful they are, or it's hard to pick up, as you say.
How
Can you bring
many
that? Can you bring
photos
that?
of fish do you have? How many photos of fish do you have to take to get one good one, or are you just that good now that every photo you take is amazing?
Um, thousands.
Ah,
No,
cool.
I don't
So
know.
you are me and
Hundreds,
more.
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I guess all it is that I'm looking for that. Yeah, I'm looking for the shot that is better than great. You know. So I mean,
Mm.
half the time I could probably in 2 minutes go, "That's a nice shot," and then I look and go, "No, the fins aren't
He's
right."
probably
You
deleted
know.
100,000 fish photos that we would have been stoked with.
Yeah. Close enough, good enough. Hang it on.
Oh, you know, I'm still happy, man. I still look at it and go, yes, it's there, you know, especially those tiny little raspberries or something like that, you know. Uh, they're
Could
so
someone
hard to try and
could
follow
someone put
around.
that comment up, please? The last comment in the chat. I can't do it. I think it must be
Cam will
Cam.
have to do it.
There you go, Andrew. There's some feedback for you. Andrew, your photos of your fishing tanks are dope.
Oh, thank you, Jason. Yeah.
So someone
That's
wants
cool
to
kid.
smoke.
That's cool kid slang for awesome.
Someone wants to
Or
smoke your
grouse,
fishing
maybe.
tanks. So there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, diamond tetras. Have you taken photos of diamond tetras? Because I've
Yes.
seen them and I've seen them on the internet and they look amazing. These guys talk about them and then I've seen them with the pet stores and I'm like, really? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I took some photos of my diamonds and yeah, you've got no idea. Helen's got them, and they actually look metallic, and they look like uh, they're just
Diamonds
like a little
almost.
Diamante ring.
Almost
Yeah,
like a
no,
diamond.
Jesus, yeah, diamonds. They should name them something like that.
yeah.
Yeah, no, they're cool little fish for sure. Yeah. Oh well. Oh god, I got so much going on, like so many ideas. I can't think of any questions. You know, like this is like being in school, learning some stuff.
And I'll give my photography tip 101. If you think you want to take photos, you should probably clean the glass the day before, right? Because otherwise, all you take a photo of is the algae on the glass or the streaks on the front of the glass. I've done that so many times.
Yeah.
Beautiful in focus
Absolutely.
algae. Beautiful in focus spots of algae. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The amount of times I've walked into the fish room and decided, oh, I'll go take photos, and I walk over and I go, oh, the glass is dirty, or I need to clean the glass. So you're absolutely right. And the other thing that a tip, I will often do photos. I might skip a day feeding, and I will do photos if I'm really keen on that second day, because there's been no food through the system for about a day, and the water's the clearest, and they're usually quite chill, you know. They're just swimming around, and the fish aren't like murking up the water, and you've got the cleanest water then. You know, I mean, a lot of people say, I'll feed them, then I'll take photos because then they'll come out. But, you know, the water's shitty.
Yeah. And all you do is take photos instead of
No.
algae of all the crap floating around in the tank. It looks like the fish is in a dust storm, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you notice any difference between taking photos from standard float glass to low iron glass?
In terms of what I do notice is the color temperature of different glasses. Iron glass is very neutral, you know. It doesn't, if you were to have a 5,500 Kelvin light, it's going to be 5,500 Kelvin. Whereas a lot of the other glass will, you know, obviously go greener, or, I mean, but in terms of clarity, not really. You know, not that I've ever noticed. You know, thickness of glass makes a difference. You know, I mean, you start to get 12, 15 mil glass, and you can't go be side on or an angle too much at all.
Just to store everything, eh?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Cool. That's cool.
What would you say if someone's listening and they're, you know, no idea, but they're wanting to kind of give some of this a go? What would you say is like the single most important thing, like most important tip or anything that you've given that someone should put into practice?
Using their phone, obviously, not using a fancy camera.
Yes.
Yeah, using your phone. Look, exactly that. Go down, turn the lights off around the room, sit down at a comfortable height, just chill out, watch the fish for a while, and once they stop noticing you and go back to their normality, because they, you know, and then just try and take photos, pick one fish and just keep on hammering at it, follow it around, you know. I think a lot of people say, oh, that one's too fast, I'll try this one over here, you know, and you almost need to pick one thing and just keep on doing it. Take another photo, take another photo.
That's how I take photos.
Delete.
Look at that one, look at that one, look at that one, look at that one. And I'm zipping around and the fish are just zipping around everywhere.
Yeah. You follow that one, and the other one swims across in front of you, and Ryan's, you know, oh look, another one. You know, so.
Yeah, I'm like a seagull photo. Oh, look, oh, shiny stuff. And then I get a photo, photos of fish turning around out of focus.
Yes. That's many of those. The other thing too, I mean, hold the camera, the phone like this, you know, and look
right
like
in your eyes.
It's easier to, it's easier to follow the tracking of a fish when you do it like that. If you're holding it down and, you know, chest height, it looks like you're making a cake. You're swirling the phone around, but you're not. It's harder to follow.
And often you think
take photos of.
think you're pointing it at the fish because you're looking over top of it, but you've actually taken a photo of like the arse end of it, or the top of it, or something else. You know, like something random. Yeah. And Jason's asked a question here: what is your go-to shutter speed, brightness, etc. settings when snapping a photo with a mobile phone? That's going to depend on what you're shooting, the environment you're shooting in, isn't it? Brightness.
Well, a little bit. I mean, if you can control shutter speed, you want to have nothing less than 1/25th. That would be an absolute minimum if the fish is going to be relatively slow moving. You know, obviously the brighter the light on the tank, the more the camera is going to be able to react and give you faster shutters and more depth of field. So the conditions that you've got are going to dictate a lot of what the phone camera can do. When I use my camera, it's completely on manual. I don't have any automatic settings. I control everything. And then once again, I shoot it dark and then process the colors out. But in terms of if you can add extra light, if you really want to take something and put extra light into the tank, then maybe that would help. But try and fix it up in the editing.
That makes
Do you
sense.
ever go to editing software that everyday noobs or / idiots like us could use? Because some
Well,
of them
mine's
suck.
quite proprietary. I mean, yeah. Look, I wouldn't really know. Obviously, I use things like Photoshop and Lightroom, apps like that. There are probably phone versions of something. There are. I think a lot of the free ones are crap, but there are a lot that all you need to do is control exposure, contrast, saturation, color temperature. If you can control those, I mean, that's most of the things you need to worry about. And even on my iPhone, I can do that.
You say it like it's real simple, but this is 30 years or 20 years of taking photos of stuff, just making it sound.
Yeah.
For us everyday mortals, or about the air looks right.
Well, to tell you what, on your camera, if you can flatten it down so it looks flat and boring, and then
like this,
go play a
Funny guy.
You take a photo. You don't want to share right there, mate.
I should have had more coffees before I came on.
Yeah, Brenton, we know that his audio is a bit crap, but that's the best we can do. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Next time I will,
Figure it out.
Figure it out. Dude, I've got one old.
This modern day technology stuff, it's pretty difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm not really a computer sort of guy. I use a computer all the time for work, but if I'm not really doing photography, I wouldn't know my way around the computer at all, mate. I'm not really.
I was,
and you kind of live rural as well, right?
Yeah.
You're probably pedaling at the same times, like you got the mouse.
That's right.
Power and the internet going.
I just thought you meant. I thought you just meant because I was rural. I was like an old hick, and I was,
you do kind of give off the old guy living in a shack in the middle of nowhere vibe. Like taking photos of his fish.
Well, that's me. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, wow. Yes, I live up to every.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh no, good to hear. Does I guess we'll throw it out to the room again. If anyone has any final questions they want to ask, make sure to put them in the chat and we can read them out in that. But yeah,
are we going to do our random question?
Random question?
Yeah, can do. We'll do it now, and then we'll come back to any questions if anyone puts it in. So the question for today is, what is your guys' number one favorite dinosaur? Go. Hit me.
Triceratops.
Good choice. I like it. Next.
Yeah.
Someone.
Dinosaur.
Do you know any dinosaurs?
I'm going to go with, I don't know what they're called, but those like little T-Rex ones off Jurassic Park that he trains. I don't know what they're called.
Velociraptors.
Yeah, those things are cool because they're vicious as, but they're little. Oh, tough.
All right. Good choice. What's yours, Cam?
Can I go Bircher? Does that count?
No.
Good. Because I think
one that doesn't exist anymore.
It was a good try.
T-Rex. Now those big Brutus things with the big Brutus necks.
Oh, the long ones with the big hump on the back.
I know the ones. I can't remember the name.
Goatee things.
What are they called? The ones that just What's it?
Brontosaurus. We'll roll with that.
Diplodocus.
Can we join in? Yep.
That's Helen's
Alan can
favorite.
join in.
Same favorite as you can.
Diplodocus. It might be the
Yep.
same thing.
Diplodocus. Oh yeah. There
Well,
you go.
I'm gonna go for a pterodactyl. That's
You would
the flying
yeah.
one.
A vicious bastards, those ones.
I don't know. You're the one that was around when they were
Not a-
flying around.
You wouldn't want to go up against one of them.
Yeah, man. Oh, good choice. And Zen Ginger has tuned in. Said unfortunately missed out most of it, but what you can do if you're interested in is go onto Spotify or whatever your podcast player of choice is, and you can listen back to it. And
Like today
you can
or in
free
3 days'
years.
time when you finish it.
Yeah, whenever. There's no. Matt has
I'm
said
sure he-
Ryan Brachiosaurus was around when the dinosaurs roamed. So
I'm
it's true.
sure. I'm glad there's no Ryan Jury a sore ass. You know, because
There
I
is. That's
was
just a
waiting
different
for that
thing.
to
Don't
come
worry about
around.
it.
You know what I mean?
Nah.
But anyway.
Too
Oh.
early.
Yeah. Sweet as. Well, yeah, make sure you guys send us in some listener mail. The email address is podcasttreeidiots@gmail.com. 10 out of 10. Need some
When will
help.
this podcast be available on Spotify?
It will be Sunday at 9 a.m. This Sunday that's coming, whatever that is. It is the 9th, 9 a.m. New Zealand time, obviously. I don't know where you live. And that's the same every week. Sunday at 9 it goes up. And then we record most Wednesdays at whatever time it is, 7, but sometimes it's later, sometimes it's earlier in the week. What are you going to do?
And
It's free.
and if anyone has any contacts at Auckland Glass, can they get them to accept the challenge? Because I want to see Young Cam rapping off against the rap champion.
Hey man, you started this. You can
No, you
can
started
follow
it.
through.
You called them out.
Oh, did I? Damn. Well, what are you going to do, eh? We'll get them to
You've definitely
respond
got that
first, and then we'll
Slim
figure it
Shady
out.
look about you at the moment too.
The what?
You've definitely got that Slim Shady look about you at the moment too.
Why? Because I'm
Yeah.
wearing a hoodie. Yeah, man.
Well, mainly because your haircut's very similar and you're wearing glasses and a hoodie. But yeah, sure, why not?
Hey, I'm not complaining. I've been compared to worse things.
Haven't we all? Yeah.
Yep. Oh, well, thank you very much, Andrew, for coming on. I'm sure all the lovely people who are listening have enjoyed it and got some good tips. And I'm looking forward to all the groups being flooded by all our listeners' high quality photos. And we'll post some of your pictures up so people can see some of your work as well. And yeah, I don't know if anyone
Maybe
had
we
any
can
else.
all take a photo of a fish and put them all up together and see if we can work out whose is who. It
All
might
right.
be quite a difficult challenge
I
from
accept
2,
the
3, and
challenge.
4 onwards.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Anyway,
Can I just say one more thing with photos?
Go ahead.
Just because your photo is great, it doesn't necessarily mean that when you put it up on Facebook, it's going to give you somebody telling you exactly what that fish is. I mean, I take all these photos and I never actually try and use them for fish IDs or ask for fish IDs. I think it's pretty dangerous when people put up photos up on, and they ask for IDs off that photo. That's the only thing I would suggest.
yeah.
The photos are just to look cool.
Well, I mean, I think that, I mean, so many people use these profiles in their photos to get an idea of a fish that's in their tank. And then, unfortunately, just the way the world works, or these Facebook places work, everybody wants to say what that photo is. And that in some situations is not the best thing, People are IDing fish that aren't really that fish.
We
Yeah.
also could do a whole episode with Andrew as a guest on identifying fish and the problems with that. But anyway, especially African cichlids.
That's right. Yes.
Because Andrew and I talk about this often,
Yeah,
All
man.
you need to do to identify African cichlids is identify them by the color, because it's the same fish, a different paint job. It's a yellow one, it's a blue one, it's a red one, it's an African cichlid one.
That's right.
Mic drop,
Yeah.
boom,
Oh, that's
out.
right.
Interestingly enough,
exactly.
I had a post pop up this morning that was about evolution of African cichlids, and it turns out that Lake Victoria and Lake Malawi were joined at one stage, and they've done the genetic testing between SDO tilapia and all the Malawi haps, and they are related. So a Lake Victorian fish that still exists is the original, I guess, what do you say, parent or original, descendant of all the Lake Malawi haps.
So
Closest
my
we can
theory
still get
of
it
same
is
fish,
SDO
different paint job is correct.
So I was kind of backing that up by saying they all evolved from the same
Yeah.
fish. All the haps did anyway.
Yeah.
I haven't read much
Yeah.
about the Malawis, about the Mbambunas, sorry, but the haps are interesting.
And
So
just quickly before we go, Matt says you can't use the same theory. Wait, what? You can't, as you can use the same theory as determining your cousins in Nelson area as identifying cichlids. So
just for the record, I'm from Wellington. So
yeah, well, you live in Nelson.
Same idea applies.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, well, thank you guys very much. I think that's about it for us. I need to go attend to some business. So please subscribe and we will see you later.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
thank
I
you
don't
for
even
joining
know
us,
what the
Andrew. Much
episode is.
appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thank you very
Andrew.
much.
Thank you. Cheers, guys.